What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining the Realty One Stop YouTube channel. Today, I'm going to be making a video that details how to find and keep a great investor real estate agent. If you're watching this channel, I assume or hope that you are either already a real estate investor or you're looking to learn more to get into the real estate investing journey. So, to start off, I'm going to tell you what to look for when you are trying to find your agent for investment property. Okay, the number one most important thing to me is that they are an investor themselves. Because if they're not an investor themselves, it's going to be extremely difficult to find the expertise that you need to find the right deals to buy investment property if they have no idea what they're doing and if they're not doing it themselves. Every good investor agent I know or I've worked with was an experienced investor themselves, and that's typically, if not the only reason they got into the business, a big part of it. So, what will give an investor agent a set of skills that you can't find with 99% of the other real estate agents out there is a very specific market knowledge based around rental properties themselves. Okay? They're going to understand the rent comps that are out there. They're going to understand your viewpoint because they've been there and they've been through it, the exact same experience that you're going through trying to buy your first or your 100th investment property. When I was a brand new investor, I worked with a couple real estate agents that had helped me buy my personal house. Some people that I knew that I thought, hey, they're real estate agents, they can help me find investment property. And I quickly realized that just because they had a real estate license and they were a licensed agent, that does not qualify them to help me find and buy the right investment properties. In fact, I realized that they had zero experience when it came to investment property, and it was a massive disservice to my goals by working with them. And that's nothing against them. They didn't do anything necessarily wrong. They just were not the right fit for my goals and what I was trying to do as an investor. That actually led me to getting my own real estate license. And at the time, I thought, hey, if nothing else, I'll have quick access to the MLS. I'll be able to act quickly, which is very important when it comes to investment real estate. And I was just going to try to represent myself at the time. I didn't know much about real estate, especially from the agent standpoint. And I said, hey, if this is what's out there, then maybe I can take a crack at it and do better. So you have to decide what's most important to you when considering what real estate agents work with. Okay, there's agents that are hyper local, and what I mean by that is they have like one neighborhood, one suburb just on lockdown. They're listing half the houses in that neighborhood or that town when they come up. And I know agents like that. They focus on one small area and they are hyper focused, hyper expertise in that specific neighborhood. If that's an area that you're trying to buy in, that may make sense if that's the agent you want to work with. There's other agents that I would consider myself in this category that are general knowledge agents. I work all of Southwest Ohio around Greater Cincinnati, and I have a pretty good understanding of most of the areas in Southwest Ohio. But there's only a few areas where I know every street like the back of my hand, and there's other agents that will have different neighborhoods they know, like the back of their hand. So you have to decide. If you're looking in a big area, you may want an agent that has more general market knowledge. He understands or she understands how the investment properties work in those areas, how expenses work, who you're going to need to deal with for utilities, what the rent comps are, what the ARVs are in those markets, and based on what you want to do with your investment strategy, that will help you determine which is the right agent for you. You also need to decide, are you wanting to work with an agent that is focused on small multifamilies, large multifamilies? Maybe you're looking for single family rentals. Maybe you're looking for, strip malls and commercial real estate, offices, retail. You have to determine what it is that you are looking to invest in, and that will help you determine what agent is the best fit for that. Again, I'm one of those agents that's kind of a general agent. I have sold every type of property out there. I've sold commercial, I've sold residential, I've sold retail, I've sold flips, I've sold fixer-uppers, I've sold just about every type of real estate you can imagine. Large multifamily, mid-size, small. But that doesn't mean that I'm the most experienced agent in any one of those specific categories. So there could be an agent in the market you're looking in that is hyper focused on one of those categories and maybe the best fit if that's all you're looking to learn about or invest in. And if you are out of state, then it's very important to find an agent who works with out of state buyers. I cannot stress this enough. If you find a regular retail agent that sells, tract homes in the suburbs, and they've never represented an out-of-state investor client, I can promise you you're going to have a bad experience. One of the things I focus on in my business is working with a lot of out-of-state buyers who are in New York, California, Texas, or even out of the country who are buying here in Ohio or in Cincinnati specifically. And without that experience, you cannot build the systems that are necessary to represent those clients who are out of state. It's an entirely different dynamic, right? I mean, think about it. If you live in the town you're buying property in, of course you can go drive by, you can see the streets, you may already be familiar with the neighborhood. You're going to be able to do a walkthrough on most of those properties before you ever make an offer on it. If you're out of state, you have no ability to do that. Of course, there's resources out there. You can use Google Maps, you can use Zillow, you can use the public records on the county auditor site, but you're not going to have that same eye-level view that you're going to have if you have a good investor agent who has systems in place to represent out-of-state buyers and be their eyes and ears or their boots on the ground, whatever you want to call it, in those transactions. So it's very important if you're buying from out of state or out of the country, you need an agent who's familiar and experienced with that specific strategy. Another factor I want you to consider is what is the agent's experience level? And there are pros and cons, in my opinion, of all experience levels. And what I mean by that is when I was a brand new agent and I finally had networked and found a few clients, I had a ton of time dedicated to just those first couple clients I had. I mean, I could literally dedicate 20, 30 hours a week to one client in some cases. Now that I've built my business and I've grown my client pool and I've sold a lot of property, I do not have nearly as much time to dedicate to any one particular client. And that's something you need to decide, because the high volume, high experienced agents are not going to have nearly as much time dedicated to just your goals as an investor. So that's something you need to determine. If you're the type of person who needs constant communication, constant feedback, and they know their agent's going to pick up every call and text and email within 5 minutes because they have nothing else to do, then you may want to go after an agent that is either newer or not as experienced or just doesn't have a big business and can dedicate more time to you. If you want somebody who is more experienced, then you're going to have to understand they're busier. They probably have a lot of clients that they're working with. And you need to determine what your expectations are with that type of agent. Another thing to consider, sales volume to me is way more important than time in the business. And I've heard other people talk about this, and it's very important to think about. I know agents who I worked with in another brokerage that had been in the business for 30 years, right? I mean, they've been in real estate forever, and they sold like 2 properties a year for 30 years, right? That does not give them a ton of experience. Just because they've been in the business for 15, 20, 30 years doesn't mean they have a lot of experience. So you need to ask those questions when you speak to your agent for the first time. Understand how many houses or apartment buildings are they selling every year? What is their sales volume, right? Are they selling $500,000 or $5 million or $50 million a year? That's going to dictate their experience level, how many circumstances they've worked through that will benefit you from having that experience on your side. Another thing to consider is, are they part of a real estate team? Now, real estate teams are very popular, especially in some of the larger investment agent companies. And something to think about is that if you're working with a real estate team, most likely you're not going to be working with the person that you wanted to. And what I mean by that is, if I ran a large real estate team and I have 30 buyer's agents that work underneath me and 15 or 20 listing agents that work in my team, the odds of you working hand in hand with me as that team agent are very low. So you need to understand that different dynamic and decide what you want. Because even if you're working with someone who runs a real estate team, They may be there in a consulting sort of relationship with you, and of course they're going to train their agents under them to be successful like they were. But understand, you're probably not going to be meeting them for showings. You're probably not going to be meeting them for a listing appointment. They're going to have agents who work under them on that team to represent you and them in that transaction. So that's something you need to decide what you want. My business, it's me, and I have an assistant who's unlicensed. I still do all of my showings. I still do all of my listings. I still do all of my client consultation, whether that's in person or remotely. So for me and my business, I'm at a scale where I still do everything on a one-on-one basis. My assistant helps me on the back end administrative stuff. But I'm still doing most of the client contact. And again, that's something you have to decide. What do you want and what are you looking for in that relationship? Another thing that is vastly important, and maybe one of the most important aspects, is you need an agent who is well networked. And what I mean by that is they know all the players in that market that they're representing you, right? They know the best lenders, the best contractors, the best property managers, the best insurance brokers, the best lenders, if I didn't already say that. They're going to set you up with the people that they know, like, and trust who are going to represent your best interests. I've been in this business 6 years, and in that time, I've went through a lot of bad property managers, a lot of bad lenders that I've worked with. I've worked with a couple insurance brokers, and I found one that I really, really like. And obviously, in my case, I run my own general contracting business. So we represent a lot of our clients after the sale of a property on, maintenance and renovations. But most agents aren't in that situation. So they should have other contractors or GCs that they can connect you with that are going to help facilitate your property after the closing. Okay. And if you're out of state, this is extremely important because obviously you're not there to work on your property. You're not there to manage your tenants. You're going to need agents that have those good relationships. They're also going to have access to wholesalers, right? If you're looking for off-market properties, then you need an agent that is in the know and in those groups with the wholesalers. Because if they're not, you're not going to get access to those off-market deals. A lot of agents, myself included, do our own direct marketing where we get our own off-market leads that we can either buy or send out to our clients for buyers. So again, those are the things I want you to consider. I know I went through a lot of different points here, but if you follow these strategies I talked about, you are going to put yourself in a position to find the best investor agents in whatever market you're looking for. And as far as how to find them, I would recommend that you talk to other investors in your market, join your local RIA, join other investor groups, get referrals for the agents that they love working with, because that's the best way to get connected to the right agent. If you're online, which obviously you are if you're watching this video, I would check out biggerpockets.com. That was a huge resource for me when I started to learn about investing. They actually have investor agents on there that you can connect with in different markets. And if you just check out the forums, you can find referrals for real estate agents in the markets you're interested in. And that's going to be the best way to find those agents if you don't already have one. You can also talk to lenders, insurance brokers, property managers, contractors. Find out what agents they know in the market that are doing the most investment real estate. So those are other ways where you can kind of work backwards to find the right agent as well if you have another team member already in place. So for the next part, and I'm going to upload it in a second video, but I'm going to talk about how you can be the best client to work with these types of agents we just talked about. Because I can tell you right now, if you are difficult to work with, if you are not a good investor client, most of these experienced investor agents are not going to want to deal with you. So I will make a separate video. I will upload it here in the next few days where you can see all of my tips on how to be the best client you can be, which will lead to your success as an investor working with these types of agents we just described. Again, guys, if you have any questions, comments, please leave it here on the video. Again, I'm happy to make specific answers to any questions you guys have. So don't be shy. Leave me your comments and your questions. I'll be happy to make a video response. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really helps me grow my channel, which is obviously what I'm trying to do and why I'm putting out videos each week. Look forward to seeing you guys on the next video, and thank you for watching Realty One Stop channel here on YouTube. Thanks.